Hello. Happy New Year. And let me hide my face. Let me hide my face in shame. Isn't that so pretty? Can you see the bubbles? Look at them jumping. But let's talk so serious right now. I've been attempting to make this video for what feels like 2 months because at this point that I'm making the video finally, it is February and our first fair was in the beginning of January. In the beginning of December. So in December last year, which is just 2 months ago, I can't believe that was actually last year. But in December last year, we had the vim to finally sign up for a fair. So in choosing our fairs, we have tried to be really intentional. We've also had to understand that the idea or concept of gifting, especially like greeting cards, funny greeting cards, Nigerian greeting cards, is not something that is like highly palatable to every single person. So I think in that we're very clinical almost in the way that we chose the fairs that we're going to start off with, because I felt like it was also going to set like a precedent for the future. So we didn't want to go into anything that was too giant, but at the same time we also didn't want to go into anything that was like small, non-existent. So we settled on two. The first one that we did the first weekend, I believe it was the weekend of like December 7th, like whatever that weekend was Inside Track Fair. Now Inside Track is something that I have been to several times before. I just love the environment. It's in Strawberry and Gariki. That's like one of my favorite places to like visit. Alright, so starting off, we were told that our setup time, so everybody's put in a group. Let me start from there. Fairs in Nigeria, when you sign up for a fair, you get the information of like Instagram or something like that, and then you're all put in a group together. And then that is where the owner of the fair or the organizer of the fair now like gives out all the information and stuff like that. Keeps you up to date on things that are going on. So this weekend in particular was very unique because there were a bunch of different fairs that were going on at the same time as this fair. So already that was kind of a concern because I didn't do my research enough to know that that other things were happening on my day. I feel like in my mind this is like my day, so like nobody else should be doing anything else, but there were like 3 other fairs, I kid you not, happening at the exact same time. So that's as well posed its own like concerns or issues as to whether or not the clientele that we're expecting would actually show up. But yeah, we started off on the Saturday. We were there very early. One of the things that we noticed right from the onset was like a shortage of tables and chairs. And before that, I don't know how my own thoughts process is, because I think my preference in a lot of situations is to come with what I need, so then I don't have to ask anybody questions. So in my mind, like initially I even thought I was going to have to bring my own canopy, like one of those like small canopy things. So when I was thinking of the things that like long-term purchases that we needed for both businesses, it was already in my mind that we would have to have some form of canopy, like one of those movable ones, obviously not the like the Nigerian ones or the metal rods, like one of those ones you can just open by yourself. Anyway, so because of that I had like collapsible tables and collapsible chairs. The only thing I didn't take with me was tables. There was such a shortage of tables. Apparently everybody and their mother, because of all the fairs that were going on in different parts of Abuja, had like booked out the tables and chairs. So we were all left with like flimsy stuff. People were like taking tables from stalls because those people were not there on time. So that is actually the first lesson that I learned, was that it was a really good thing that we're there on time. My H&H assistant at the time, Mama, and I planned and synchronized to be there at 8 o'clock. We're there a little bit past 8. I mean, it's a Saturday, I'm a mother. But we're there a little bit past 8, and then thankfully our tables and chairs were there, but we're just watching kind of the chaos unfold. It was a mess. It was really a mess. And then it was good that we were early because we had a lot of time to set up and to try out different arrangements of how we wanted the tables to look. We decided on like an L shape. So basically in the tent, it's kind of a way where there's a giant's tent, at least for Inside Track, for most of the different quadrants, there's a giant tent and it's split into 4. So you share, like maybe behind you will be somebody, beside you will be somebody, and like that. So in our case, we had the front this way facing another tent, and we had the side as well to choose from. We couldn't have positioned in the other way because we had somebody right next to us there. We couldn't have positioned on the inside because it wouldn't have made any sense. So instead of using one of the sides, we decided to have one table on the corner here and another table in the corner. So we kind of formed like an L shape. And the decision to do that was just based on the fact that I didn't want us to like be facing a direction and people are coming from a different direction. So we wanted a situation where the tables, we can kind of see, we have really good optics as to what is going on. So that was a really cool thing. One thing that I didn't really know that you absolutely needed because of the state of the rental tables is that you need tablecloth. So I already had tablecloth because there's a branding for Barefoot, and so like we have no choice but to like stand out. When you're selling gifts, you have no choice but to like really focus and hone in on your branding. So we had like red and white tablecloths. They were terrible. They were cheap. They were disposable. I got them off Temu. I had like the red color and then the yellow color because those are like our 2 brand colors, and the yellow actually aligns with both Barefoot and LTCO. So I was just like, yeah, let's just have them. Needless to say, after that experience, I have bought proper like cotton fleece tablecloth, but at that point in time, it just had to suffice. Like one of them ripped while we were there. Things were just happening because we were moving things around. So we now started the process of setting up. Now on that day, we forgot so many things. And I think the primary reason for that is that we didn't plan ahead. We didn't like envision or do a trial run. And it was on my mind, really and truly, it was on my mind before then to do a trial run. It just never really seemed like a good time because December was already so busy. So it felt like, where are we going to start squeezing in, you know, all these things and stuff like that. So needless to say, we had to do a couple of back and forth from the fair to like back to the office to grab things and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we got settled. We started to work on the table setting. Now, one thing that I really noticed that was so important was that we had to make sure that things looked really appealing. That meant that we could not have things be one-dimensional, like just spread things on the table, especially because of the items that we were selling, which is like greeting cards and things that are like kind of small and they don't really take up giant space. We kind of had to find a way to make sure that things looked really good. So we bought a bunch of different like multi-level displays. In more recent times now, we've gotten one that is like a metal rack so that we can pin our cards to them and stuff. We had baskets. We were just really trying to make things pleasing to the eye. We're playing with a lot of different like shapes. We're playing with a lot of different shapes. Like our baskets are like oval, then we had small trays that were square. We just wanted things to look different in a way that was appealing. And then we also had a sign. So I made a chalkboard sign at home. Lots of things I do, lots of things I get are from Temu, by the way. Sponsor me. But we made a chalkboard sign so that on one side, like the wind was kind of blowing it and it would be turning around and just says Barefoot Gifting and says what we have. We also had like a pull-up banner that was in the front, even though that didn't last very long because at some point the wind blew the thing down and it was just like but it's still something that we have. I think it's important to have, to be honest. It was nice to take pictures in front of it and stuff like that. But yeah, at some point in time, we now started to notice that even though we had different kind of displays, they were all on the same level. So what did we do? My amazing assistant, Mama, was like, we have cartons for like our Orobo jugs. Let us put them and then stack things on top of them. So we had a lot of beautiful height going around. I'm talking a lot about the display because the display is what sells a thing. Like if you're going into a market and you want to stand out, you cannot just have things out the way everybody would with like plain, just like regular cream colored tablecloth and then you just put two baskets of things, one here, one here. It's not pleasing to the eye, and it gives a lot of pressure to the clients to like choose something quickly and like be out of there. So one of the things as well that we really kind of honed in on was trying to see opportunities to make people stay in the booth a little bit longer. That staying power, I think, allowed us to also attempt to forge relationships and just to say, okay, you spent time. And how did we do that? Gina, I'm doing that thing I hate, because I hate when people ask questions and answer it immediately. But what we did is that, because it was our first time as well, we're giving out chocolates on like our Barefoot. We had like little cards and we put like a chocolate in the middle of it, and it just said, oh yeah, take before responsibility catches up with you, or something along those lines. I'll try and find a picture and insert it. And it was such a like sweet thing for people. It was such a nice thing for people. So every time somebody would make a purchase, before they leave, like after we've packed the bag, we'd be like, oh yeah, and you can have like a chocolate just to welcome you and stuff like that. We also ended up, because Christmas is a big season for us, we also ended up taking our speakers to play music. We were the only people that were playing music there, I can tell you for free. At some point the DJ would like play some music and then stop and then play. I think there was like a sound system that was just like somewhere, and then maybe the battery dies or they take lights to go off. But guess what, our speaker, like our tiny little JBL speaker, was like running almost through the whole event, and we were playing exclusively Christmas music. So it was a thing where like everywhere else would be quiet, and then you'd be able to hear the sound of like Christmas songs. And like in my heart of hearts, the vision I had for that was that people would just be like, where is that sound coming from, and just start following the sound until they get to our booth. So that was kind of it. I really did try, and it's I really tried to make sure that things were really intentional and nothing felt like a waste. My real goal, especially for that first fair, was just to make back the money that I paid. I believe that as at last year, because I was the first time vendor, I paid maybe 87,000. And I kid you not, on the first day, we made, I think like, I don't even remember. I have the numbers somewhere. I think we made like 600,000. I'm not even kidding. Just from selling cards and stuff like that. This is obviously like revenue. It's not profit and stuff like that. But we sold so many things because of the fact that like I feel like things were really appealing and it was different. There hasn't been like a gifting stand or a stationery stand or anything like that in a lot of these fairs. So if you're in this space, like if you're in the gifting space, you're in the stationery space, you should definitely go in. I think one of the things that also helped us to stand out was the fact that we were really encouraging people to touch things. Like we were not really there like in our heart of hearts, we're there to make sales, obviously, but we're not there to make sales. We're there more to get our name out there so that people can see things, and watching people react to Barefoot like cards, the punny stuff, the magnets, all those things during the course of the 2 weeks was amazing. It was such a like full circle moment for me personally. I made sure that I had a bunch of people in rotation at the stand. So by that I mean I was the main person that was working. Mama and I were working, and then I always had like one extra friend just to be there, to be like around, either to motivate, or if we're short on something, if one of us is talking to people and then the other one needs support, there would always be like one extra person. So for each day of the fair that I had somebody extra. One day was my mom, another day was like a couple of my friends that just came in and out, and I feel like that really helped with momentum. Like it just helped keep the energy. Another really good way that we kept the energy was having our own drinks. Like we had our own drinks because you see, without me, I need some sugar. Like it doesn't do anything to me in my mannerism, but it just makes me happy. Like sugar, the bubbles just make me happy. So we got our ice. We got it from somewhere called Ice Supply in Abuja, and it lasted for the whole day, up to the point that both days, I think the second day, we didn't even have to pick up ice. We used the same ice from the day before to just cool our drinks, up to the point that other vendors were also asking to even put stuff in our cooler because it was hot. It was blazing hot. So we made sure that we brought our own food, we made sure we brought our own drinks, because we didn't want a situation where, one, we would have to leave the store for extended periods of time to look for anything, but two, we would have to spend money that we're not willing to spend, because at the end of the day, this was a money-making venture. We're not there to play. We're not there as clients. We were there as vendors. We're really trying to see how we can get a collapsible table that can fit into my car, so that the next time we have our own table as well. Because honestly, as many things as you can have and just have once, and just know that it's, yes, you've made this purchase and you're not going to do it again, you're not going to be blindsided. A friend of mine that did the fair as well, when she got there, because she was selling food, when she got there, she didn't have a table. Now imagine selling food and not having a table to put the food on, when on a normal day there are 2 tables for a lot of the stalls and you don't have not one table or not one chair. Honestly, my dear, it pays to just buy it and keep it. You will not have to repurchase again, especially if you are thinking of being in the circuit for an extended period of time, which is what it is for us. What it is for us is that with both brands, Barefoot and LTCO, we're going to be alternating which fairs we're going to. For example, shameless plug, there's another fair in Inside Track at the end of, I want to say end of March. Was it end of March or end of February? I actually have to confirm that. I think it's end of February. Yes, 28th of February and 1st of March. There's one for International Women's Day. So naturally, LTCO is going to take the forefront of that. But it's so important to us, and it's so important to do fairs. In case you're thinking about it, it's important to do fairs because if you're an online business like us that doesn't have our own office, like doesn't have our own space to like advertise, you don't yet have a website and stuff, and all you focus on right now is like social media, it's nice to give people the opportunity to see things in person. 1, you get immediate feedback. 2, you get that endorphin boost of like people getting what you're saying. 3, you get to defend your products. Like you get to explain to people how things are meant to be used. Payment methods. So for us, we had our payment plaques. We made them from a company called Hazel and Cinnamon. They make everything that can be made in life. They're on Instagram. I will put their Instagram here. And you send them your information. They make a QR code for you that sends people to your WhatsApp. They put out their account details, and it was just nice and cute and different, and it was just standing there. And then we had our price lists as well that were just standing there so that people could look at it. There's nothing I hate more than feeling like I have to ask somebody that I'm buying things from how much it is, because it reminds me of that online experience of like going somewhere and seeing someone pretend they have to send a DM and be like, please, how much is this? No, our whole idea is we're here to help you, but at the same time, just look around. We encourage people to touch things, open the cards, touch them, unscrew the thing that you're seeing there. With us, we're trying to really encourage wonder. And it might not work for every business, but obviously if you're doing like scented candles, it makes sense. If you're doing like honey and you can give samples, or you can do jam and you can give samples, just encourage people to stay longer. That staying power thing. And then we made sure that we had a POS. So the first time we did this, I actually was turning on and off my POS because I didn't bring a charger. I did bring a charger actually, and I had the power bank. I don't know I did that, but I was turning it on and off. But this more recent time when we did it, our community and care lead, Pepe, she just put it on a power bank, so it was on all through. She didn't have to go through that process of like somebody wants to buy something, she'll now start turning it on and the person will be waiting. So that's also a really good one. Now let's talk about things that I wish that we had done. I really wish that I made a detailed list and divided them into different categories. I think that that is such a helpful way, even up to the number of items, like each item. For people like us that are selling cards and they're like so many, like we just have now, we have a thing where for these our first couple of ones where nobody really knows us, we're going for awareness. My dear, bring 5 of each card. Bring 10 of each card and just keep. That first day, you just brought everything. The things needed, the things not needed, we just packed anything that our hands could touch, we brought. And because we're so hell-bent on bringing as many things as possible, naturally we missed out on the detail of a couple of things. So it's really important to write a list. You can have a permanent list that you just keep on adding to. That's what we have now. Second, payment options. I really wish that we had advertised, like put them out more. So a lot of the times we would kind of wait until somebody's ready to make a payment. They'll now bring out the plaque that has all the account details and stuff, because once again, we packed so many things, we didn't have space. It's so important that your price list and your payment would just be on display from the beginning, so that the people that want to buy don't need to ask. A lot of people, like, we want to talk to them, but a lot of people that are buying things, they might not really want to have as many conversations. They just kind of want to do their thing. So the third thing that I wish we had done differently is that a couple of items that we brought were already fully packaged. I don't know why, but like some things we just didn't bring like the sample version of it for people to look at. I don't know, girl, I don't know. So we have this line-free books, these line-free books that we sell. They're like notepads. And because it was Christmas, our whole idea and what was so pretty and so cute was that we wanted them to already be wrapped. So you just pick them up, you can gift it immediately to whoever you want. But guess what? We didn't bring the actual sample of what kind of book is inside for people to see. So a lot of people were buying blind. And for some people that might be okay, but a lot of people want to know what they're buying. Same thing with the cards. A lot of the cards that we displayed initially, we had to start taking some out of the containers because people were like, can I see what is inside? It didn't even cross my mind. Like, up till the point that people were asking that, it did not cross my mind that that was even a thing that anybody would want to do, like see what is inside. So that's why I was like, you need to let people touch things, feel things and stuff like that. And then I think the final thing that I think I would have done differently is I would have switched up on the days. So what I mean by that is, for somebody like me that has 2 brands, you have so many things. Like, even if it's Barefoot centered, we still always have like a small nook for LTCO, and vice versa whenever it is that LTCO starts having her own fairs. But we kind of worked on just showing the same things over and over again. It was by maybe the second fair, like completely different one. So after 2 days of one fair, that we're like, do you know what? We have other things to show. That's when we now started making our Christmas magnets and stuff like that. And unfortunately, at that point, we're at a smaller market. Those things would have sold at the first market that we did, for sure. They would have sold because we had a lot of like expatriates that were going home. The biggest thing that a lot of people were saying is that like they love the hampers, but they can't take them home because they are all leaving the country to go to different places. So that's why a lot of people were just buying a lot of cards as compared to anything else. So I think that's something to think about as well. Use your fair experience to experiment with your items. At some point in time, Mama was like, why don't can you bring some of our wallets? And I'm just like, that's so interesting, because our wallets are for like custom orders and stuff like that. They're not usually supposed to be sold as is. We engrave them, we do a bunch of different things to them. But she was like, yeah, let's sell the wallets. And like 4 of them sold. And I was just like, whoa, that is crazy. Like, I didn't think of that. So stuff like that. Another one that I didn't think about, that I only thought about even now recently, was like the people that help us to produce our candles were also at the fair. So I felt like it would be kind of weird if we display our own candles from them. But realistically, a lot of the scents that we have were custom made for us. So like, don't be scared, and don't say because other people are doing things, as long as you're not doing anything illegal or taking anybody's intellectual property, don't look at somebody else and be like, okay, this person is doing this, so I can't do this. All in all, from that first weekend, we made 1.5 million. And that is for an array of reasons, including the fact that it was Christmas, including the fact that this was our first fest. So we really pushed the energy of like, it's our first time coming out. And so we got a lot of like my family, my friends, my people from church to come out to sell. But that is the amount that we made in that weekend. And that was really eye-opening for me. I was like, wow. Because I remember as I was sitting there, setting up for the first time, my husband had come to help us set up, and he was just sitting around, and it was making me more nervous because I was just like, you can't be here and I'll be trying to talk to people. I'm already nervous to talk to people about this business that has been on and off for like what feels like 7 years now, and then you're here. And then once the first set of people left, both of us like exhaled at the same time, because he was literally waiting for me to have like my first sale and to see how it went before he left. And as soon as I had that first one, honestly, it felt like an addiction. Like I was just waiting for more opportunities to talk to people about that, talk to people about things and stuff like that. The first one, we did have one person that had like not so great, not the greatest review. He came at it from like a, you know, I want to help you out by telling you what it is that you're doing wrong type situation, which will tend to happen sometimes. Like not everybody is going to be giddy, not everybody's going to be excited. For me, especially when it comes to the business, because I know absolutely nothing and I'm just figuring it out, even if feedback sounds like it's bad, I will still try and just take it. At least even if I'm just taking it for that point in time, and then later I'm like, what's this mumu saying? I will take it, because for all intents and purposes, the customer is always quite right. Until they're not, but they're quite right most of the time. So yeah, would I do it again? I already have. Was this last one as good as the first one? Certainly not. By this point in time, we didn't really promo. It was kind of a last minute decision and stuff along those lines, so it was different this time. And also Valentine's Day and Christmas are almost like night and day, so you can't expect people to have the same kind of interaction with both holidays. So yeah, it was a great experience. I will certainly be doing more, and the more I learn stuff, the more I will come and share as well. But I just wanted to give like an overview. I'm sorry if everything kind of was like in different pieces. I just had so much to say. I just had so much to say. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be back soon with another video, hopefully another building barefoot video, because I really like this kind of video. Do not forget that you are sugar, you are spice, and you are bomb mash jello fries. Bye bye.